today to convince you of the reality of the global financial crisis and its stifling of opportunities in local government, because we're all here today to talk about sustainability in local government, which has its own particular set of constraints and opportunities. I would like to introduce you to the reality trolley and the fantasy trolley. The background behind these two characters, who we wheeled down from Wynyard this morning,
stole,
borrowed, and returned, is that once upon a time, and you may all recall when you were younger and better looking and with students being poverty struck and sharing houses somewhere around the traps, you went in small groups to supermarkets to shop. You may have, like we in our shared house, take 2 trolleys with you. Into one you put the 2 main meals, the beans, the rice and the pasta. And into the other you put the smoked salmon, the camembert, the fresh fruit. And then you went to the checkout and reality set in. What could you actually afford? And at that point, you parked the fantasy trolley with all the lovely big ideas, which actually may or may not have any effect at all, and you went home with the reality trolley that sustained you and your household for the next week. Now, our team are here to say to you that while we may all like to believe the GFC is an opportunity for sustainability, the reality is that sustainable local government practice has been dealt a body blow. The money trail tells it all. We have to do in local government more now with less. You can't just pull a fantasy bunch of dollars out of the fantasy trolley and do more with services. Our communities are not saying to us, oh yes, please, councils, go away and do less now, we understand. We understand you've got issues around superannuation, CDOs and all that. No drama at all. Just go out there, stop building roads, stop doing library services. Our communities aren't saying that to us. The reality is we have to do more with less. At the same time, we have a move, I would suggest to the audience, towards a more conservative framework, particularly in our elected representatives. We're all worried. You know, we have to protect jobs, we have to move away from these strange ideas like change and sustainability. We don't understand them. They're a breakfast cereal. What we want is to do something that we understand, something sensible, like we've always done. Let's be conservative. And also, even worse, we've been distracted from the real issue. Just like our picture up there earlier said, we're all hiding underneath the GFC cloud, when really the real issue is climate change, the CPRS and those types of things. And in fact, in terms of sustainability in local government, we have been distracted. Our team defines sustainability in local government as being able to sustain service delivery in the context of intergenerational equity. So what are the effects, we're saying, on our ability to be able to sustain these services, not for this generation, but for generations into the future? We understand that sustainability is not about a shopping bag policy, it's actually about the way we do all of our activities in local government. It's not a little add-on thing like a sustainability officer or an environmental officer that you put in a cupboard somewhere in your council. It's actually about how all of your council does its activities in a more sustainable manner. Now, we would suggest to you that in fact what's happening is our local government elected representatives and GMs and then a wholly mix of developers and engineers and accountants who run the local government are now saying, gee, that cupboard over there with the environmental sustainability, do we actually need that cupboard at the moment in the GFC? Maybe it's actually at risk. That is a real issue for us, we believe, and for sustainability in local government. So what we'd like to say to you is that our friends over here suggesting to us that we're all about fear. We're not about fear, we're about being really real, about what we actually can do in local government. My second speaker here will explain to you the facts regarding the impacts of the GFC on our income and expenses, on our capacity to borrow, and the stimulus package, all that lovely money we got, was actually tied to infrastructure development of certain types. And you may recall some communities out there, they got $4 million. What was it for? A great big sporting field, which they decided for many years that they couldn't really fund themselves. The state said it'd be a waste of time, but because it was shovel ready, up there, all printed off, ready to go, that particular community got that $4 million for that thing that, is that really about sustainability? I don't think so. And now that community is running around, spending all its time and energy, building this huge, amazing regional sporting field, which actually has no real long-term benefit at all, I might suggest. Now look, no one likes to be negative, okay? We're all here today to support sustainability. But when considering the argument, I want you to be real because the stakes are high. Tinkering around the edges with, shopping bags and those types of things, and saying that it's all good is actually dangerous. What we need to do is to be real, and we need to say there is such a thing as global warming. We need to get on with sustainability. We certainly don't want to be talking about saying language like, oh, Australia's small potatoes, let's not worry about emissions. The danger of tinkering around and saying it's all good is that we fall into that trap. Without boo-hooing or whining, we need to say the GFC has not helped sustainable delivery of council services. Besides reducing our capacity to serve, it's taken the nation's eye off the main game, managing emissions and adapting to climate change. A robust CPRS will deliver far more sustainability than any amount of creative thinking and doing more with less at a local government level. In our view, by all means, local government should remain positive, squeeze every opportunity we can out of stimulus packages and think of lots of lovely new creative ideas. But to suggest that local government, which gets less than 3% of a total taxable income, is in a better position with regard to sustainability as a result of the GFC is a nonsense. Let's get real. Except we can only do what we can, provide the best scaffolding possible for sustainable local government practice, and accept the working environment that we're in. Hopefully we're coming out of a global financial crisis where we are the third tier of government of a small global player who has weathered the storm well and can hopefully recover the ground we have lost for sustaining our